Alright, so I'm going to try and get this video finished before I go to bed. Okay, so let me close this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build the CMake, not just the way it works, but the way that they have set up for Qt6, because it's a little bit different than Qt5. So let's make a new folder. We'll call this Qt stock GUI. We'll go inside here and then let's check it out good. Let's open this up in Visual Studio Code. File, open folder, Qt stock GUI. Let's open this folder. Which compiler do we want to use? Just search for it. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and let's make a new folder called source, and then we'll move main inside source. Yeah, I do want to do that. Okay, so let's do this first. Add subdirectory. Source. Actually, we don't really need to do that. Our project's pretty small, so we'll just copy and paste their settings, and then so they're using a C-based project. The version we're using of our project is 1.0. So 3.15 versus 3.16 is not that different, so we'll call it Qt stock GUI is our problem. And then something else I learned is that this is actually not, the meta object compiler is not actually a feature inside of this Qt standard project. This automatically sets the user interface compiler and then the user meta object compiler, so this sets up both of those settings. So let's do that, and then we'll change this, add executable, CMake source dir. I'm actually going to make a variable for this, set source dir. Let's do this. We'll make source dir the CMake source directory /source. So then I can say add executable, and I can pass my source directory /main.cpp. What does it need? So it says we don't use this, we use Qt add executable instead. Okay. So we have this all sitting here, good. My test, that's good. And then I don't think we need to do that because we're not on a Mac OS. Let's clear, let's go into stock GUI. I actually want to remove the build folder and then make the build folder and then change to the build folder. Okay, so it has all the things it needs, and then we can make my test executable. Okay, so now instead of just having this main, we want to go ahead and build our main window. So let's do stock GUI.c. Let's do the H, the header file. Oh jeez. Let's rename that. Oh shoot. Stock GUI.h, stock GUI.cpp. Okay. So inside of here, we're going to have to include our Q main window, and then we will create a class called stock GUI that inherits from Q main window, and that will be it for now. So let's go ahead and I'm going to comment all this out, or else we're going to get some weird behavior. And let's go ahead and include our stock GUI.h, and we'll use the pragma once header guard here. Go ahead and build this so nothing will happen. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and invoke the Q object. The Q object macro. What this does is it wraps all the Q functions in the right namespace. So Qt is built in a namespace, and you need to include this meta object compiler macro in order to get that to work correctly. So we're going to need to include a Q widget, and then by convention what's usually done is you have this Q widget here with the parent pointer, or the parent widget being the null pointer, and then inside here we can include stock GUI.h, and we can go ahead and create include Q widget. Okay, so then we can make our constructor and then our destructor. Go ahead and make this. Okay, great. So now what I want to do is add this source to the did I spell that right? I did not. Add this source to the CMake. So let me go ahead and build generate the build file again. Undefined vtable for stock GUI. Oh, did I mess something up in the way I did this? Public class. Undefined v reference. That's strange. Undefined v table reference. Let me see what I'm supposed to do here. Main window. I don't need to do that. To do this? I mean, what am I doing wrong here? No. So this is fine, but what is wrong with my constructor here? Stock GUI, stock GUI. Q main window, Q object, Q widget, I wonder what I'm doing wrong. It's probably something super silly. I'm just not paying attention. These have definitions. Maybe I want to change all the things you want me to. Let me take this out for now and just work with this base class definition. Make. Undefined reference to stock GUI. What the heck? Oh, do I need to include the... No, I don't think I need to do that. Window.h. Yeah, see? That's exactly what I'm doing. No, you don't need to do that in this version of Qt. What does this mean? How are these undefined? I don't understand. What did I do wrong? Let's see. Let's see what this means. Why is it not invoking? Qt add executable. I wonder if this needs to be done before this. Yeah, that's probably it. So you have to tell it the project setup before adding the executable. Okay, so now we're golden. So we can set the parent widget to the null pointer because this is the highest level we can go. QWidget parent. Okay. Next thing I want to do is set the central widget as a new QWidget. So that's the mistake. That needs to come before QAddExecutable. Let's see. Yeah, QStandard project setup needs to come before because that sets the meta object compiler. And the meta object compiler uses this QObject macro to wrap all the Q-based functions in the Qt namespace. So let's set the window title to stock GUI. Yeah, that's fine. And then, actually, we'll just let it go for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncomment all this stuff. Resize Q widget. Let's not do that. Let's do stock GUI. We'll create a stock GUI class instance called window just to fit into their settings. So we have the Q application, and then we have a window. The window gets a resize. Okay, so Q should handle this pretty well. Set window title. That's an easy one. So kids, you don't need ChatGPT, you just need to pay attention. Alright, so we're looking good. What I want to do now is let's do something simple and let's make a label using Q label. Hi, we'll just say hi. Then we want to set the central widget as the central widget we've created. This is just convention, you don't actually have to call it central widget. So we'll say central widget set layout. The central widget has to have a layout. So above this Q label we'll do Qh box layout. We'll call it layout. We're gonna change all this. I just want to get this get a test of this setup. So the layout needs to have a widget, which will be our label, and then the central widget needs to have a layout, which will be our layout, which contains our label. And then we'll include Qh box layout because that's included in the stuff that we've linked. Specifier, oh, I didn't include Q label, so we'll do that here. Then make again. Great. Hi, perfect. All right, so we've got our GUI set up, and then now we can start to add on to this, but you can see the structure. You need to, we did this in the first video, you set the directory path, then I created this variable for convenience down here, and then in Qt6 you have to have the standard project set up called before you Qt add executable, then you link the libraries you need. So that's great. So that looks good, that builds, and we are ready to start actually building this app and doing a little bit of WebSocket programming.